Welcome everyone to the Time Champions podcast, a series where we explore how young athletes can thrive both on the field and in the classroom. This podcast is part of the Time Champions project, a European initiative aimed at helping student athletes build strong time management, well-being and life skills that supports their dual careers. In today's episode, Managing Stress While Balancing Sports and Studies, we'll dive into the challenges that student athletes face when it comes to stress, performance pressure, and mental health. To help us unpack these issues, we're joined by Stelios Stylianou, a psychologist. Welcome, Stelios. Please tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Andrea. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Stelios. I'm a psychologist. I'm an athlete myself. I was an athlete during my studying as well, so I will be able to share both my professional and my personal experiences in this podcast. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. So today we're going to explore more like practical tools, mindsets and routines that can help student athletes reduce stress and stay on top of both their academic and athletic goals. So let's dive into it with the first question. So what are most common sources of stress faced by student athletes today, you would say?
Okay. Firstly, let me tell you a bit more about stress before starting to discuss the main sources of stress. Stress actually is a biological and survival response of our bodies, which help us survive throughout the years. So what causing us stress is what we call a perceived threat. A perceived threat can be many things, especially for student athletes who have and face unique blend pressures such as academic demands, athletic performance, the need to balance between the two careers, so time management, potential injuries that come with sports, but also because we are talking about students here, they need to balance their social life too. So all this together, they put a really big weight and expectations on the students from coaches, parents, their peers, and everything together they put pressure, academic or what we call here stress, taking into consideration social media as well, which is a big part of today's world. All this together, unique stressors, I would say, for young athletes and students.
So how does stress typically impact the athletic performance or the academic outcomes of a student athlete, you would say?
Okay, firstly, it can affect both athletic and academic performance. We all experience it anyway when we are stressed. If we don't manage it correctly, and if it goes for a specific amount of time, and here we are talking about chronic stress, if it's something persistent, it might cause burnout, reduce our focus, affecting our sleep, and in general our motivation. So this will affect both our athletic and academic performance, especially if our concentration memory is affected, so we won't be able to focus on our exams, for example. But we need to keep in mind that stress doesn't always have to be negative. If it's managed correctly, it can be something positive.
So going to the next question, can you explain, because I've heard you mention about the positive stress, like can you mention and explain to everyone the distinction between the positive stress and the negative stress? Like how can both affect these student athletes?
Sure. As I said, if it's managed correctly, it can have positive effect. In psychology, this is what we call the eustress. So eustress is a type of positive stress that we want that stress to make us more alert. It boosts energy, sharpens our focus, enhances performance, both academically and in game. Where on the other hand, distress is where we are panicking, we're feeling anxious, and this is really affect our performances. What we said earlier about the impact it can has on our academic and sport performance. So basically, it's how we perceive the threat and how we manage it. If we manage it correctly, we will talk in a bit in some good practices on how we can manage it. It can be a positive thing.
Exactly. So now moving into a more effective ways that we could tackle the stress. Like, what evidence-based techniques do you recommend for reducing stress in the student athletes? Like some of the best evidence methods that they include.
The list is long, so I will just say a few things that are working for me and are scientifically proven as well. First one is mindfulness and meditation. It's a really useful one to improve focus and emotional regulation just by staying there. Sometimes our brain needs to stay still, especially in the society we are living in, that we are getting stimulation and all the information all day, either academic one or let's say we are sitting there to relax and we are just scrolling through social media. We are not realizing that, but we are bombarded with information. So through mindfulness and meditation, we are taking this time off for our brain to stay still and relax. Key in this process as well is the breath work. There is a technique also called progressive muscle relaxation, which helps us calm our nerves. Going back to the stress mechanism that our body and how it's regulated. When we are stressed, our body is releasing hormones. So it's a neural process, but what it helps to calm down our neural system is the breath. So it's the number one thing we can use. And by using different techniques and taking deep breaths, we can calm our neural system. What is really important, and I'm sure a lot of athletes will agree with me, exercise as well is releasing endorphins, which is our happy, let's say, hormones. And this helps with stress regulation as well. So athletes here, apart from the stressors they can have, it's an added bonus, let's say, to be an athlete. And of course, talking to someone and having good social relations, either with your coach, with a friend, a counselor, it's really important and can make a huge difference.
Perfect. So now moving to the next question, like how important would you say is a structure and a routine in order to manage the stress levels?
For an athlete, it's the A to Z, basically. It's, if you don't have a structure, you won't be able to juggle between the tasks you have to do throughout the day, and you will get lost in the routine. Especially when we are talking about athletes who need to balance their studying, their meals, their training, and above everything, their rest. So even your rest, you need to plan it. So you need to avoid this last minute panic and feel mentally grounded by having a good structure and a plan in place.
Perfect. So are there any specific techniques or exercises that the student athletes can use during the high pressure moments, such as right before a competition or an exam or a test?
Definitely. The easier one you can go, as I said before, is breathing. So there is a technique called box breathing, where basically you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 4 seconds. While you are doing it, you can imagine also the box here. You exhale for 4 seconds and then you hold again for 4 and you repeat. This is really useful exercise to calm the nerves and really help with stress. Visualization also is a really key aspect where athletes can mentally rehearse a situation. They put themselves in the classroom, for example, taking the exam. They visualize themselves already winning a game, for example. So it's a first step to believe in yourself and be mentally prepared about that. So if you visualize it, the body will follow the mind. Grounding exercises are also really useful, but this is also used in medical situations when we are talking about severe anxiety, to start noticing things in your environment. For example, 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, and it goes on. It can be things you can smell, and then it goes on and on. So basically, what this exercise does is bring your attention to the room and to the moment, and not let your brain and your mind going around and creating more unnecessary stress. Spiral, yeah. And last one is positive self-talk. I know many people might not like quotes, but I think it's really useful to have a motto, or you might read a simple quote at the beginning of the day, and this will change your whole mindset. So it helps you shift your attention from the negativity to the positive things, and this can help your mental well-being as well.
Perfect. So now moving to like the next question. Why is mental well-being essential for both academic and athletic success?
Mental well-being is, if not most important, is equally important with the physical well-being. You can't have well-being without the one without the other. So it's a key aspect. So basically, student athletes who feel supported, balanced, and confident can achieve a lot of things, not just academically, but in the classroom as well. Without it, even the most talented individuals will not be able to achieve their full potential, because they won't have the ability to deal with the daily stressors. They won't have the energy or the focus to achieve their full potential.
Mm-hmm. So how can schools, coaches, and the families better support the psychological health of student athletes?
Okay, so a student needs a good support system in place. And all the actors you mentioned, parents, coaches, friends, I will say, is a good social system that provides this support. But what we need to do first in order for these support mechanisms to work is to normalize conversations around mental health. A lot of people are afraid to talk about mental health. I want to believe that the stigma around mental health is not as it used to be, but it's still there. So we need to remove the stigma and talk about our feelings, how we feel. And also coaches and educators, in my opinion, needs to get something like they receive a first aid course. So it's a mental health first aid. This one on how to recognize signs of burnout, anxiety, how to support their players to manage this stress, and also to have these conversations with families. And families can also encourage the balance between academic and sport performance. But families need to also support the students, celebrate the small outcomes they have throughout their journey. Sometimes they might not achieve their goal, but that's where you need the support, and that's where you need the family next to you or your friend. So this will help build resilience, strength, and at the end of the day, character.
So moving, what would you say is the role, and what role does self-awareness play in managing stress? How can young athletes build it?
Okay, self-awareness is key. And what we mean is key, it's if you are not aware that you are stressed as a first step, how will you be able to manage that stress? So the first step is to be able to recognize the signs and then act on how you can manage it. Also, before we reach the management step, we have some preventive measures that students can take to manage their stress and not reach the level that they are actually stressed and they need to manage it. For this to happen, to prevent it though, you need to pick up the signs. Some signs can be poor sleep, poor appetite, and it can be the initial steps that we need to notice and take action. So to build this skill, key things you can do is journaling, reflection at the end of the day. I used to do that as well when I was a student. Before going to bed at night, I was reflecting on my day, on my training, on the classroom. And I was going back to that moment and I was thinking, okay, I did that, especially after games. I was there, I did that. What if I would done that? What would be the outcome? So I'm going back and reflecting on my actions and see how can I improve or what I did correct and I did good. So I will repeat that behavior. So this really helped me as an athlete as well, but it's a good practice to use for reflection. Also, coaches can facilitate check-ins where athletes can go there and talk to them, and together they can rate how they feel throughout the day, how they feel after game, and this will encourage an open discussion, a reflection, and it can only result to growth for athletes, but also the coaches themselves.
Stelio, this information was amazing, not only for me, but of course for other student athletes, their coaches, the schools, and their families. I think today you gave a lot of valuable information for them to cope with stress and to have better stress management. I would like to thank you for being here and for all the valuable information that you provided. And I think that's it for today. Join us next time to our next Time Champions podcast episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you.